Okay, good morning to one and all present here. So we'll start the session today, and somewhere if you feel asleep, even I can watch it. So if you feel asleep, you can raise your hands. We can have a small break. We can have some diagrammatic representations, because I understand it is very difficult to sit and hear. It is easy to come and stand and speak. So you might fall asleep. Okay, so we will start today. Usually we used to have 2 days of sessions, and now we are planning to have it as a single day session to inculcate more data on that and more education. So what will be my prime intention of working today is providing you some basic understanding about the human body, basic understanding, how each organ works and what are all the diseases it can cause, and how to have a for every disease there is some natural way of prevention. So we won't be discussing about the medical parts like giving this injection, giving that tablet, give this first, give this second. We won't be discussing about that, but we will be discussing about how to have a normal way of prevention of the disease. So we'll go through the general human anatomy. So we want to know from where we have come from, I mean the scientific way. So what is our species, what is our genus? So we belong to the class Mammalia. Mammalia. How many of you speak Tamil here? Can you raise your hands? Okay, everybody understands some. So Mammalia, the class Mammalia means palutigal. The organisms that are the living beings that can take care of their young ones by breastfeeding the children. So we come across the group called Mammalia, and we belong to the phylum Chordata and subphylum Vertebrata. That is, we belong to a species which has a vertebral column. You see a cockroach, it doesn't have a vertebral column, it has only a head, thorax, abdomen. Similarly, you want to see a butterfly, it doesn't have, it belongs to some other genus and species. So the genus and species that we belong to has a vertebral column and chordate. So we belong to the phylum Chordata and subphylum Vertebrata, and we belong to the genus Homo and species Sapiens. That is why we are called Homo sapiens. So now just going through the various other kingdoms. So we always, sometimes the biggest mistake that a man makes is that he thinks that he is the only person, or human beings are the only persons who are living on the world. So there are some other creatures, living creatures that are living on the world, and we want to recognize what are all the other living beings that are living along with us. For example, as I crossed through your seminary to come to your class, I saw some cattle grazing along the field. So if you see that along with the cattle, you see some stokes also standing nearby. So you can see the ecosystem there. The primary feeder is the grass. So the cattle feeds on the grass. So whatever the cattle has on its mouth, there are some small insects sitting near its mouth. The stoke feeds on those insects, and at the topmost of the ecosystem, we feed on the cattle, be it either the milk or for the meat. So who are all the living beings living along with us? We want to recognize there is a kingdom called bacterial kingdom, archaebacteria, protozoal kingdom, fungus, plantae and animalia. We belong to the class Animalia. So bacteria, generally they are eukaryocytes. So then what is a eukaryocyte? They are structures with a single cell. You hope you would have studied in your biology. It is a single celled structure with nucleolus, nucleus, cytoplasm, endoplasmic reticulum, smooth and rough, Golgi bodies, mitochondria. But as human beings, we have trillions of such cells. That is why we are superior from the primary kingdom. And what are fungus? You know, even the bread that what we use, if it becomes stale, you see the fungus near the in times of rain. You can see near the trees, on the barks of the trees, you can see fungus. Kalan they say in Tamil. So this is a separate kingdom, and there are plants around us. Plants, that is a separate kingdom, and we belong to the Animalia. We are called a complex organism. We are called a complex organism. So what is a complex organism? We have different systems, like you have even in your classes you have different subjects like history, geography, science. We have a different system. So we have a central nervous system governing our body. We have a cardiovascular system running our body. So governance is different, running is different. Governance gives only the instructions, whereas the running the system is a cardiovascular system and the pulmonary system. We have the excretory system, we have the gastrointestinal system, we have the endocrine system, and we have our skin covering the entire system. So don't feel panic, whatever I am saying may not be understandable to you. I want to make it more elementary. We will go bit by bit. So slowly you will be introduced into the subject. So even if you don't make much of note of the points, but I want you to have a keen listening so that it makes you interesting. So how do we develop? How do we develop? We develop from the process called fertilization. By fertilization of an egg with a sperm, a zygote forms, and from the zygote we call it a embryo. We call it a embryo. Embryo has the first organ to develop is the head. The first organ to develop is the head. Then the chordate, the vertebral column develops. From there on, the heart develops from the 7th week. The heart develops from the 7th week. Even until 4 months, the embryo is as small as a fist only. Only from the 6th month onwards. So totally for our gestation, for a human being to develop, it takes 10 lunar months. 10 lunar months. What is 1 lunar month? One lunar month is 28 days. One full moon day and a no moon day is called 1 lunar month. So you want 10 lunar months. The total conceptional age is 280 days. So in the 280 days, every day is essential in development of eyes, in development of nose, in development of our excretory system. So this is how it just, so I want you to feel the grace of the Lord, how it develops, how he nurtures us, how he takes care of us even in the embryo itself. So a Lord that he can take care of us from the embryo can very well easily take care in his own environment. So we need not feel deceived whenever we have some failures. So bringing in more significance, I am putting this slide. And that notochord slowly develops into the brain, the spinal cord, that we call in English cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and the spinal cord. Now we are comparing this with a class called Pisces, that is the fish. So fish also similarly has a notochord. You know the mull irukku, the notochord, and every organism is almost similar in one way or the other. Only its structures differs. This slide is not to know about the fish, but for us to compare with the fish. And now I want to introduce about our system called vertebrata. Our system has a bilateral symmetry. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 legs, very symmetrical, very symmetrical. Rarely there is asymmetry. So our structure is a bilateral symmetrical structure. We divide into 2 halves, each half mimic each other. They look alike. So there are some cavities in our body. There are some cavities in our body which are very significant and functional in its structure. The blue color cavity what you see is a neural cavity. It is a neural cavity. And the red color what you see is called the it is called the mediastinum, or we call it the pulmonary cavity, where the lungs and heart are situated. what you see in golden brown color is called the peritoneum, which harbors the gastrointestinal system, and what you see in the yellow structure is called the pelvic cavity, where the urogenital system is kept. So the pelvis harbors the both, it takes care of the excretion and it takes care of the reproduction. So both going hand to hand. So I won't be reading from slide to slide. My slides are only for your pictorial representation. So I am not reading points by points. I want to explain you. So in the thoracic cavity, the line what you see here is the diaphragm. Diaphragm is an important point. The line what you see here is called the diaphragm. So diaphragm is a muscle which divides the body as thorax and abdomen. So it divides the thorax and abdomen. So what is present in the thorax? The blue color part is the lungs and the red color part is the heart. So the heart and lungs are kept in a comfortable cage called rib cage. So it is a very soft structure. So the Almighty provides us with a super protection. So it is not easily it cannot be easily affected by any external source. So coming to the abdomen, we divide the abdomen into generally as 9 quadrants, for scientific purpose. For you to understand simply, we can divide the abdomen into 4 quadrants. The right side quadrant, that is the right upper quadrant, the structures present there are liver, they call kallirul, liver, and kanayam, that is called pancreas. So that is present in the right upper quadrant. In the left upper quadrant, the structures present are stomach and the spleen, important structures. And the right lower quadrant and the left lower quadrant, the important structures present are the right kidney and left kidney. And the left quadrant, the another important structure present is called the rectum, the structure which harbors all our stools. So whatever you eat, you don't pass it immediately. So there are some things to be organized. And the right quadrant, another important structure that is of much significance is the appendix. School going children, college going students, they come across appendicitis. So the abdomen pain will be in the right side. So generally we understand what are all the structures that is present. So another division is called the 9 divisions. This is not very important, but you also have to remember there are some 9 divisions. Other cavities are oral cavity, nasal cavity, orbital cavity, middle ear and synovial cavities. Oral is the oral, nasal you know, orbit is the eye, middle ear is the cavity that is present in the ear, and synovial cavity is the cavity that is present in the joints, So other classes for you to just remember, amphibia is what we see, the frogs, reptilia, the lizards, crocodiles, what we see. Aves are the birds, mammalia, and mammalia, some points you will see here. We have some hair, mammary glands that itself classifies for our system. We have the well differentiated teeth, 32 teeth are present in adults. There is a muscular diaphragm. So that is why I told you diaphragm is an important structure which is not present in other classes. So it divides our system, that is the body, as thorax and abdomen, and we have a 4-chambered heart. We have a 4-chambered heart that we will discuss in the cardiovascular system, and we have a very complex nervous system. We can dance, we can sing, we can speak, we can mimic, we can do gymnastics, we can fly, everything we can do. We have a very complex nervous system, and our fertilization is internal. We are not egg-laying animals. So our eggs are laid inside the uterus, so that is fertilized and that forms the fertilization. So what are all the some significant things that classify us as Homo sapiens is, our brain size is comparatively large. You might ask me next question, why not an elephant's brain is very huge? Is it not? A cow's brain is very huge, but comparing the proportion of the body size, the head body ratio, human beings have the biggest ratio. Even if you compare an elephant, the size which you multiply the size of the head, it doesn't suit that. So we have the biggest brain size, we have an increasing skeletal size. For 20 years our skeletal system increases. Because other you see hens, you see dogs, by 9 months it attains the fullest size. But human beings takes 21 to 23 long years to grow its skeletal system. Many students they ask me by 19 years, na innu konja height aga mudiyuma appadinu. Yes, you have still scope, but you have to do some exercise to increase your height. We have a decreasing tooth size. So as you grow age, so our tooth decreases, and we have a decreasing skeletal robustness. As our skeletal system grows, by age it slowly weans. So these are some characteristic points. So one of the famous person that you need to remember in our anatomy is Leonardo da Vinci, who has given us the first human anatomy diagram. So we have to remember Leonardo da Vinci. And Vesalius, the reformer of anatomy. The father of anatomy we call him as Leonardo da Vinci, and the reformer as Vesalius, who have given us lot of anatomical pictures. In those days it is very difficult to see the organs. Now we have dissection. Those days they used to go to the graveyards, dug back the dead bodies, they used to dissect there and find out in the dim light whatever is available. So such amount of hard work that they have done, and for us to today understand. So these are the old images, how the human bodies look like, how they and these are old images for just for rough understanding. So these are all the old sketches. Now we will be seeing one system one by one. So the first system what we will see is the integumentary system. So it contains our external protective organs, that is the skin, hair, nails. These are not beauty organs. Skin, hair, nails are not beauty organs. The biggest defense system our body gives is through our skin. The skin is the first line defense system, and it is the largest surface area organ. It is not the heaviest organ, but it is the largest. No organ has a larger surface area than the skin. The hair and the nails give protections to the underlying structures and for ourselves. Skeletal system gives a rough plot for our system and helps us in locomotion and helps to do our daily activities. Like you are able to sit, you are able to walk, you went for a break. So our skeletal system is very important. So what is our muscular system? Muscular system gives us a frame to do the necessary work to safeguard ourselves first, to eat, to go in search of food, to protect ourselves from the predators. So our muscular system is not to see some young boys whom you might be seeing in your parishes later will used to go to gym. They spend a lot of money, daily eat 6 eggs without the yellows, eat lot of chicken, it's waste of time and money. That muscle will not last for long. It only lasts for some time. It is a human craze. It's a human craze. Our muscular system is generally to protect ourselves, to go in search of food, to do some physical activities, to do our daily learning. So some young chaps you might see in your parish, motivate them not to, let them do exercise. Going around the football ground 10 times, go sweeping the house, sweeping this entire hall, let them do exercises which will be useful. The exercises what they do in gym, if they go and do in some quarry or some place, they will be paid at least 600-700 rupees. Yes? And the circulatory system is a very fantastic system. So I imagine it as a heart and the lung. So I imagine as the heart and the lung. The two lungs are present in between the right and the left, and heart in between. So what is the role of circulatory system? The heart pumps all the bad blood, I mean the used blood. Bad blood is not bad blood. Otherwise we have to call it as a used blood, pumps out all the used blood, pushes to the lungs to get oxygenated. Oxygenation is the magic of life. The air that we inhale and how oxygen simply diffuses in the blood can be simply understood rather can be seen. It cannot be seen, it can be simply understood. It goes to the lung for purification, and the purified blood comes to the heart again, and then the oxygenated blood is pumped out to the various organs, right from our tip hair to our little toe. Everybody are evenly taken care according to their need. So this is how simply, what all you see in the blue is called the veins, and what all you see in the red is the oxygenated blood. What you call it as lymphatic system. Somebody of you would have come across this elephantiasis, Yanakal Noi. They will have a huge scrotum, huge leg. So the lymphatic system takes care of our human body. It removes the organic or metabolic waste from our body and gets drained into the vein, and it is also purified. Generally the lymphatic vessels can be seen only on a dissection, but cannot be seen as the veins what we see on our hand or artery where we pulse. So lymphatic system is present deep inside. It removes the excretory metabolic waste and empties into the venous system. Immune system, what are all the structures of our immune system? Who gives us immunity for our body within ourselves? The immune system consists of the thymus gland. Thymus gland is present just behind the sternum. The spleen gives us the immunity, the bone marrow gives us the immunity, and the epithelium that is at our orifice, that is the nasal orifice, eyes, ears, urinary place, vaginal place, anal place. So there the epithelium secretes some secretions, and you usually see once a foreign body comes and touches your eye, immediately your eye waters. Yes, it is a source of protection. The wings and the insects gets drenched in the water, and the insect becomes movementless, and it comes at the edge of the eye, and you slowly simply just rub off. The secretions make the insects immobile. Second, the secretions make the insect die also. So that is the amount of protection, and those secretions are present in all the orifices. Orifices are called the holes: eyes, nose, mouth, ears. And here I want to insist on you, do you know who is the most dangerous creature in the world? Most dangerous, most fireful, the most harmful creature? Lion? Corona? Yes, somehow come out of the answers. Human beings are the most dangerous organisms. They have caused more deaths than other organisms. This is a study, this is not the latest study, the study has been there for, and our lions and leopards are coming at very far back. Who is the next dangerous organism who is causing more deaths in the world? First is human beings. Most of you have said it correct. Who is the second? Excellent. We'll give a good round of applause. So you knew it already? You read it somewhere? Yes. So you are also aware of the first dangerous organism also? He is the one. Okay. So the second dangerous organism in the universe are the mosquitoes. They cause more deaths, because we should not underestimate a mosquito. So mosquitoes are more dangerous. So to give a lot of protection from the entire universe, our immune system works day in and day out. But as soon as you see a mosquito sitting here, your hand goes there, wherever it goes. So that amount of protection we have. Nervous system is simply again divided as the brain, spinal cord and the spinal nerves. So brain gives the instructions, it doesn't do all the work, and those instructions are carried out by the spinal cord, and the instructions given by the spinal cord are carried out by the spinal nerves. The nerves, and those spinal nerves in turn instruct the muscles and the bones. For me to touch my nose, my brain first says that, my spinal cord executes, my hand then works. So the ground level workers are the muscles and the skeletal system to do the activities. So now we have to understand that there is another system called endocrine system. How many of you have done your biology in 12th? Biology students, how many? Please raise your hands. Okay, very few. So others belong to, how many of you belong to computer science? How many of you belong to commerce? Okay, so non-biology students are there. So I hope the classes will be interesting to you to listen. So is it interesting? Yes. Or it is like lullaby? No. Okay. So the endocrine system, what is endocrine system? In Tamil, endocrine system is called Nalam illa Surapigal. Nalam illa Surapigal, which means the endocrine system is present elsewhere, but the action is brought elsewhere. And these secretions do not have tubes like other organs like blood vessels, lymphatics or nerves. It is like wireless connection, like a Bluetooth, like a Wi-Fi. So it is a wireless connection. As soon as you see a pickle, your tongue waters. You also can listen that today they are going to offer some biryani. By 12 o'clock your stomach starts working. So the endocrine system are wireless systems or they are tubeless systems. They work excellently. And what are all the various endocrine systems we want to see? I also prefer to say from head to toe. The first system is called the pituitary system or the master endocrine gland. It is the captain, like Virat Kohli, it is a captain of the endocrine system. It takes care of the various biological processes. The next comes the gland called pineal gland. Pineal gland. Can that intellectual person say what is the role of pineal gland? What is your name? Huh? Pardon? Maria. Yes. Okay, Marial. Okay, what is the role of pineal gland? Okay, he didn't read about this. Pineal gland gives the biological clock. Biological clock. For example, even you see the hens wherever they graze, by 5:30 to 6:30 they will come to their original place. So the biological clock is framed along with the sun. The biological clock is framed along with the sun. So it is inhuman and incorrect and non-hygienic to be awake beyond 6 o'clock. Practically not possible these days because of various activities, but our system is framed to work from sunset to sunrise. So this is how our system works and it secretes the hormone accordingly. If we are awake in the unawaked hours, the hormone will think that the sun has come up, so you have to get up and work. So that is why sleepless people are victims of persons working away from clock hours. Especially BPO call workers, telecall workers, night duty shifts. So emergencies are rare, even medical profession works against us, but emergencies can be exempted, but others can restrict themselves from working there. So the next endocrine gland is the thymus gland, which gives us immunity. The next endocrine gland is called the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland prepares us for emergencies, prepares us for emergencies, the flight, fright, fight hormone. You come, suddenly we are talking, one lion comes here, all of you get up and running, or the ceiling is dropping. So there is an emergency, and the adrenal gland also takes care of the mineral metabolism. Mineral metabolism is what are all the minerals to be kept, what are all the minerals to be excreted. It takes care of the structure of the bone. It takes care of the integrity of the bone. So our system itself has a different ilakas. a different structures, each taking care of one system. And the last endocrine glands are the sexual glands, that is the testis and the ovary. It takes care of the perpetuation of species, is the rule of nature. It's a rule of nature. So perpetuation of species is taken care by the sexual glands, that is called the testis and ovary. Now we will come to the respiratory system. What are all the parts of respiratory system? Is the nose, trachea and the lungs. So it inhales oxygen and exhales carbon dioxide. Digestive system starts from the mouth and ends at the anal canal. From mouth to anal canal is almost around 8 meters. Okay. So roughly from mouth to esophagus, esophagus is a tube that pushes the food into the stomach. Stomach, the food stays there for around 2 hours, mixing all the ingredients. So but that is why for the stomach to mix all the ingredients, we have a good oral cavity. So you have to chew all the food and smash it and push it in the stomach. It slowly grinds and sends as chyme, 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 and that goes to the small intestine. Absorption doesn't happen until stomach. Until stomach it is mixing and grinding. Absorption of the vital nutrients. What are all the vital nutrients that are absorbed? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. All are absorbed, plus vitamins, minerals. The absorption takes place at the small intestine, and the absorption of water, you understand? You all know from where water is absorbed? Kidneys. Kidneys excrete water. So you will all be amazed to understand water is absorbed from mouth. Mouth it is poured, it is like a funnel, it doesn't do anything else. Water is majoritarily absorbed from the stools, from the fecal matter in the large intestine. The perungodal அப்படினு சொல்றாங்க இல்லையா, பெருங்குடல்ல once all the vital nutrients are taken out like carbohydrate, fats, minerals, the chakkai, that is the excretable structure, are pushed into the large intestine where further absorption, especially the water, and that is why however liquid you take, you excrete only solid. The water is absorbed. Most of the water are excreted via the urine. The essential water that is required for our system is utilized. So the majority of water is absorbed from the stools and only dry fecal matter is excreted. So what gives us the brown color for the fecal matter? It is the breakdown of, because whatever color you eat, yes, except from beetroot and keeraigal, other whatever you eat, you excrete only in a golden brown color. Are you not amazed of that? Yes. The breakdown of, anybody knows the answer? Okay, Marian? No. Okay. So it is a breakdown of red blood corpuscles. Our red blood cells, the average lifespan is 90 to 120 days. Our red blood cells, the birth and death, the lifespan is only 90 to 120 days. The old RBCs are broken down at what organ? Spleen. Spleen is called the graveyard of RBCs. It is called the graveyard. Slowly the biology students, you remember one by one points? Yes? Biology students? Remembering? Yes. So spleen is called the graveyard of RBCs, which means to ensure the quality of life. We want only young working individuals. So a spleen, what it does, it is very old. You are not useful anymore. It is slaughtered. It is given death. It is given judgment. You better you die, you cannot serve anymore. It is given peace, and all those red blood cells are broken down into bilirubin and biliverdin. Bilirubin and biliverdin, which is excreted in the feces, and that adds the color for the feces. So that is why whatever we eat, the golden yellow color, the reason for that. Then we have the urinary system, excretory system. So the oxygenation and the deoxygenation happens at the lungs. So what about the other vitamins and minerals or salts that needs to be excreted? It is done at the kidneys. So kidneys, blood is pumped in and pumped out. There is a filter, and whatever is not required, excess sodium, excess potassium, excess magnesium. So somebody poisons us for various minerals. In the olden days, you remember, kings were poisoned little by little with the food. So the extra minerals can be detoxified at the kidneys, and the extra salt can be lost, extra water can be lost, and all those filtration happens at the kidney, and the kidney simply drains into the urinary bladder and excretes as the urination. While coming to urination, you have to also remember there is a reflex called micturition reflex. Suppose you are sitting in a class, only one or two feel like passing urine, but it is not the time to pass urine. The break is not announced so far, so they hold the urine, and after that they don't get the sense. Again after 40 minutes it gives an alarm. Again you feel like urinating. So our urinary bladder has a capacity to hold urine for 350 to 400 ml. The urine is holded and slowly it is excreted by a reflex called micturition reflex, which is both under the control of the central nervous system and the conscious system. So even if the brain says need to pass urine, still you can hold the urine for some time. So that is about the urinary system, very interesting point. And reproductive system, male reproductive system, female reproductive system. In female, the reproductive system, the active age is from 13 to 45 years roughly. It can be from 8 years or 9 years, or from 17 years to 45 or 55 years. The first age is called, that is the puberty age is called menarche. So the reproductive life starts from there for a female, and the reproductive life ends at a point called menopause. Whereas for a male, there is no end for sexual life. So if there is only puberty. That starts the beginning of the sexual life, whereas there is no end. Even a 70-year-old man or a 80-year-old man can also give birth to a child. So it is not non-scientific. It cannot happen. How did it happen? They are lying. No, there is no andropause. So the semen will carry live active sperm until the death, but generally it weans out after 60 years. Generally it decreases, but still it is active. So coming back to females, there is a system, a cycle called menstrual cycle. So what is a menstrual cycle? Menstrual cycle happens for 28 days roughly. So it is a cycle. Each time, what is a cycle? The hormones that predominantly works is called estrogen and progesterone. Each time the cycle, it expects a sperm to fertilize and an embryo to form. Generally it doesn't happen. It happens only once or up to 10 to 12 times in a lifetime. Even in the olden age, there used to be 10 or 12 children. But beyond that, there is no. So when there is a failure to fertilize, the unfertilized egg simply peels off from the uterus and passes as the udirapoku. We call it in Tamil udirapoku, or we call it menstrual bleeding. It happens for 3 to 5 days. The first day bleeding is more, second day bleeding is moderate, third day bleeding is mild. By 4th to 5th day it stops. So why bleeding happens? It is the failure to fertilize the egg. So that causes the peeling of, it cannot keep an egg anymore. So it simply throws off. That cycle is called menstrual cycle. Generally, ladies are very weak on those 3 days. They lose some 100 to 300 ml of blood in those 3 days, which generally regenerates. That is why in olden days, ladies who are on their menstrual cycles were not allowed to come to kitchen or prayer room. They used to call it teeth. But the original idea behind that teeth was to give them some rest. You don't do it. சும்மா இருக்க சொன்னா இருப்பாங்களா? இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஏனா அவங்களும் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டாங்க, or the other people will not have mind to make some people idle for 3 days. Imagine 3 days you are simply eating, sleeping. Anybody will accept? Nobody will accept. So they called it by a name called teeth. So they allowed the ladies to sit in a corner of the house, do not enter into any household activities, because when you come to household activities, a lot of work. So that amount of imagination, that amount of care we had in the ancient days. Now only we have all the sanitary pads advertisement. You don't come to running race, the girl falls down, oh my mummy, they are sending me back home. The amma says, you use this, how can a girl run on a bleeding of 100 to 300 ml? Imagine, is it humanitarian? Even if the girl doesn't come to school for 3 days, no problem. She should take rest. This rest, but for advertisement, for monetary purpose, to sell more pads, they are telling my mother, and she immediately dances and brings a cup to the mother and he kisses the mother, we see in the ad. So those are all false promises. For a menstrual cycle, the girl requires, whatever be the age, 12 years or 40 years, she requires some rest. So why I am inculcating all systems slowly and so now you understand that you have slowly entered into the human system. Slowly, little. First you felt something abnormal, you are not able to concentrate. Now you are slowly entering into the system. So we will now slowly enter into the anatomy terminologies. Because in some parishes they usually have to have some medical, small medical institutions attached, like a clinics or like some OP outpatient department. Some parish used to have a full-time running hospital, like CMC Vellore is having, in Katpadi they are having, in Vaniambadi they are having. So you just giving some basic medical knowledge. So whatever is in your front is called anterior, whatever in your back is called posterior. So whatever is up is called superior, whatever is down is called inferior. Very easy to remember. So whatever is towards the center is called median. In the road you have median, no? Median. So median is in the center. Whatever is in the lateral is away. So whatever is in the lateral is called away. So whatever is near to the heart is called proximal. Whatever is away is called distal. Distance means duram. So distal is whatever is away from the heart is called distal, whatever is close is called proximal. For example, my clavicle bone is proximal to the shoulder, but shoulder is proximal to the hand. So it is in order which is more close to the heart, which is more close to the median, which is more close to the median. And this part is called the ventrum. This part is called the ventrum, and this part is called the dorsum. It's called dorsum, this is called ventrum. So we are little ahead of time, but anyhow, we will not waste any time because we have only some 4 to 5 or 6 hours. So next we are jumping into, so this is a rough understanding of our human body. Any doubts so far? Any doubts? Any idea? Yes, the change in the body shape, the broadening of the shoulders, the growth of the axillary and the pubic hair, the growth of the beard and moustache. So these are called secondary sexual characteristics. So this gives a rough guideline and idea that there is a puberty, but like as in female, the first menstrual cycle marks the puberty, whereas in male there is no such first cycle. So generally by it is an arbitrary value, we just understand that he has matured. Okay, any other question?
Is the problem in controlling urine for long time?
Controlling urine is not good for health. Whatever is not needed, only urinary bladder stay. So, but you can hold for 10 or 15 minutes. That is, so you cannot urinate as you talk. No, you feel urinating classes or you want to piss down, you cannot piss. You can hold for some time, half an hour or 1 hour. That doesn't matter. But you cannot hold for a full day or more than 6 to 12 hours. You should not hold. Any other doubts? Yes. Pardon? Okay, very good question. Okay, this needs little more explanation. Infection versus disease. So we want to understand what are parasites. What are parasites? What is a parasite? A parasite can be classified as ectoparasite and endoparasite. Whatever lives on our skin and hair is called ectoparasite. Whatever goes in our system, lives in the intestine, blood is called endoparasite. Example for ectoparasite is these scabies. Scabies. Children used to do, they used to put their hand in their trousers and scratch their buttocks. They used to scratch their penis like this. So they have the itching near the finger webs. Scabies. Scabies is a ectoparasite. Pain. Talayla pain irukku, lice. It is a ectoparasite. And what you saw, the stalks eating on the cattle is a ectoparasite. The ectoparasite, the stalks feed on the ectoparasite. So what is an endoparasite? Malaria is an example of endoparasite. Filaria is an example for endoparasite. Tapeworms, nada pulu, vayithula pulu varudhu solrangala, endoparasite. Naaku poochi, night la kulandinga sorondine irupanga asana vaya, buttocks, the anal canal, they used to scratch. Lot of small worms, shiny white worms, hundreds in numbers, just dropping from the anal canal. You will come across. So those are called endoparasites. So for example, you see the roundworms, flatworms. I am not going into the depth of that, just for you to understand how a life cycle happens. So there are some eggs. Eggs are spread on the grass. The cattle feeds on the grass. The parasite goes into the flesh of the cattle. That slaughtered flesh we eat, and that slaughtered flesh, once we consume, we eat the sporocytes, and that under favorable situation. See, you have to imagine here, for every living organism, that is a safety protection. It knows how to live, it knows how to survive. Even that eggs do not just simply die, they convert them into a more safe structure. A tropocyte or a sporocyte, it converts into a hard structure and deposits under the flesh, and under favorable situations it opens up and then enters our flesh, enters into our intestine. This is a general rough idea of a endoparasite, not ectoparasite. It is a rough idea of endoparasite. So we will pause here. So we will be continuing with the parasites infection, but before going to that, few of you have asked me doubts about the practical medicine, what you see in your wards, what you see in your outpatient departments. You see the typhoid fevers, you see your diabetes, you see hypertension, so several things. So we will not miss them, so we will go through one by one. Okay. So other parasites I am not touching in detail, but some important parasites I will say. So this is one of the important parasite is the filariasis, that is the Yanakal Noi. The parasite that is involved here is called Wuchereria bancrofti. Wuchereria bancrofti. Generally this parasite comes into the circulation in the night times only, like your cockroaches, like your rats, like your cats. They have a nocturnal periodicity. Their pineal gland is different. Our pineal gland is different. So they are active only in the nights. They sleep in the day. So their rhythm is set like that. So Wuchereria bancrofti also has a nocturnal periodicity. And what causes the big limb? Do you have any imagination how it causes? It is the adult worm. Anybody knows? No. So it is the adult worm. Adult Wuchereria bancrofti becomes a huge size, and then it comes in the lymphatic circulation. In the lymphatics also I told you, lymphatic circulation near the groin, that is the place where we put our underwear, near the groin, it comes and stands there and it dies. It gets trapped and affecting the further lymphatic circulation to flow out. That is why the limb goes bigger and bigger. So that is why on appearance it looks like an elephant leg. That is why it is called elephantiasis also. Okay. So here you see the images how the limbs look like. So this is some life cycles, like showing you some life cycles of other parasites also. Schistosomiasis, this is all not very common, but just you understand, it is called liver fluke or blood fluke. So while going to graze on the cattle, there are a lot of snails around. Sometimes the worms can come and sit on your skin and go into the, even now one brother asked me, certain skin infections are not going. Year after year we are seeing the doctors, but there are no cure. Sometimes the infection that what we get may be perennial. Like herbs and shrubs, we call it seasonal, annual, perennial. Perennial means for a long time. It may be treatable or non-treatable. So yes, commercial medical organizations are there, but all are not commercial organizations, else we might not have so many missionary hospitals. So far we have so many, CMC Vellore being the benchmark of one such hospital. And these tapeworms you might see in the school children. Tapeworm, Nadapulu. It comes and sits into the intestine and slowly goes into the liver, and the patient can have some liver problems also. Yes. So how a tapeworm comes is from improper eating of pork and beef. The pork, because the pigs and cattle, they graze across the area and they eat the worms which is sitting on the soil. They get ingested and sit in their flesh, and when we eat their flesh, it opens it in our intestine. I like to highlight you one point here called hydatid cyst. Sometimes these parasites can come and sit in our liver because of the circulation of our body. There the birth of the parasites, that is the reproduction can happen, and they can grow into huge numbers, and that can cause some liver problem, and the patient will have incessant fever. சாயந்திரமான காய்ச்சல் வர மாதிரி இருக்கும். They will feel always anorexia. They won't feel like eating. குழந்தை சாப்பிடவே மாட்டேங்குது. குழந்தை சாப்பாடே எடுத்துக்க மாட்டேங்கிறான். 2 வாய் தான் சாப்பிட்றான். In your parish you will come across mothers coming and complaining to you. My son is not taking feed properly. அவனுக்கு என்ன ஏதாவது மந்திரிச்சு விடலாமான்னு பாருங்க. அவன் ஏதோ பார்த்து பயந்துட்டு இருக்கான் அப்படின்னு கூட சொல்வாங்க. But we should have a theophyllic thinking, at the same time some scientific analysis. So why he is going to get afraid? He is really ஏதோ காட்டேரி ஏறிட்டு இருக்குதா அப்படின்னு some others used to come. ஏதோ பேய் அடிச்சிட்டு இருக்குது, ராத்திரி டைம் நான் வளாத்தினா அடிச்சிச்சு, பேய் அடிச்சிச்சு. Whereas it can be tuberculosis. Please listen carefully. It can be tuberculosis, it can be parasite infection. Because in both there will be evening rise of temperature. சாயந்திரமான காய்ச்சல் வர மாதிரி இருக்கும், பசியின்மை இருக்கும். They will lose their appetite, they will lose their weight. In TB additionally there will be cough with chilly, expectoration. Cough with expectoration more than 2 weeks. We have to think about TB. We will be seeing in the forthcoming slides. So this is how the liver fluke, the parasite can come and sit in the liver. So the organ what you see here is the liver, and here is the hydatid cyst sitting in the liver. So we already discussed about, and we already listened that mosquito is the most very dangerous. So don't think that I am skipping all this. I am trying to bring a nutshell, because this can be taken even for a week. So we have lot of slides. So I want to bring everything for you within this today. So this you can see here the various images of elephantiasis. Is there internet also working in this? No. Okay. So here you can see the scrotal swelling. You see the wherever we come in the villages and all, they will wear a periya dhoti. Even if they want to sit, they may not be able to sit. The scrotum in elephantiasis, it can affect the scrotum and the leg, and the leg can be as dangerous as cruel like this. It can be as dangerous like this. So what is the prevention and control for any mosquito disease is the elimination of mosquitoes, putting nets, repellents, avoiding stagnation of water around you, be it good water or bad water. Good water has its own mosquitoes, bad water has its own mosquitoes. For you to simply understand, bad water, malaria, filaria spreads. In good water, dengue, chikungunya and all these mosquitoes spread. But either whatever water, good or bad, it spreads mosquitoes. Okay, now I am coming here to my favorite topic and a very important topic that all you must know is tuberculosis. So I will tell you roughly about what is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a bacterial disease. Tuberculosis is a bacterial disease, though earlier it was thought to be a curse. Though earlier it was thought to be a curse. It was previously thought to be a curse. The stroke and TB was they said நீ உனக்கு கை கால் விளங்காம போக அவன் என்ன பாவம் பண்ணானோ ரத்த வாந்தி எடுத்து கக்கிட்டு இருக்கான் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. But for you to remember now, as of TB is a bacterial disease, it is a highly spreadable disease. It is very common in developing countries like India. Very common in developing countries like India. TB is not eradicated. TB is not eradicated. நிறைய பேர் நினைச்சிட்டு இருந்தாங்க TB எல்லாம் போயிடுச்சு, அந்த காலத்துல இருந்தது எல்லாம் சாவித்திரி அம்மாலாம் வாந்தி எடுத்துட்டு இருந்தாங்க, இருமிட்டு இருந்தாங்க, போயிடுச்சு TB. Still we have tuberculosis. TB can be as simple as a primary complex, as dangerous as a pulmonary tuberculosis. So TB can affect every organ from head to toe. Still there are people thinking that TB can affect only the lungs. No, TB can affect everything. TB can affect the spine, TB can affect the brain, TB can affect the nails, TB can affect the skin. But the commonest organ that the TB affects is lungs. So what are all the signs and symptoms? Cough with expectoration more than 2 weeks. 2 வாரத்துக்கு மேல சளி இருமல் இருக்கு. He is losing his weight slowly. He is not having any appetite. He is having evening சாயந்தரமான உடம்பு கண்ணு. He is having evening rise of temperature. Highly suspect for tuberculosis. Yes, once you suspect, you take him to a doctor. So what are the investigation that is done is a chest X-ray is done. You see there is any problem in the lungs. One, there is a sputum test, chali test. Chali test is done. There is a test called Mantoux test. Mantoux is called a sensitivity test. Whether you are having tuberculosis or not, there is a combination of all three is important. Only chest X-ray alone will not be sufficient. Only sputum will not be sufficient. Yes, once diagnosed, is TB treatable? Yes, 100% treatable. 100% treatable. Why I am insisting a lot about this is diabetes, hypertension. You will see more, but there is no cure for the disease because man is greedy. Man is greedy. By birth he is greedy. He will eat for afternoon, he will take for the night. He will keep reserve for tomorrow. So he is greedy. So diabetes, hypertension will not go. So this can go, tuberculosis, because it is a disease associated with all sector of people. So once diagnosed, TB is 100% treatable. So the duration of months of the treatment to be taken for tuberculosis is 6 months. 6 months he has to take continuously tablets. What if he skips the tablet? 1 or 2 days, no problem. Whether he is leaving the treatment in between, 6 மாசம் சாப்பிட சொல்லிருக்கான் பைத்தியக்காரன் டாக்டர், எனக்கு ஒரே வாரத்தில் நல்லா ஆச்சு, அந்த மாதிரி உடம்பு இருந்து சும்மா உடம்பா எல்லாம் களியும் கூழும் சாப்பிட்ட உடம்பு இருந்து, my body is very strong. They see there is a problem with the people is that either they will say Almighty will take care. படைச்சவனுக்கு தண்ணி ஊற்ற தெரியாதா, மரம் வச்சவனுக்கு தண்ணி ஊற்ற தெரியாதா அப்படி சொல்லுவாங்க. Even in the certain verses it says only people who are not intellectual will go and fall prey to the diseases. They will say that my Lord will take care, but God helps those who help themselves. So they have to help themselves fix it. They want to have to know what is the problem. TB, yes, God will protect you by giving you food, by taking you to a doctor, by procuring you some medicine, giving you good nutrition. He has provided the entire universe with lot of things to eat. Fruits, vegetables, cattle, sheep, everything, eggs, everything is there. So he will say, I am becoming alright, I will stop the medicine. By 1 month if you stop or 2 months if you stop, there is a problem that develops, is called multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. For please understand, tuberculosis is not developed by doctors. It is not man-made. It is not what to say commercial. It is not to make money. Tuberculosis is universe-made. It is present. We saw in the first slide. Like us, there are so many families. Virus is there, bacteria is there, plantae is there, fungus is there. These plants, the trees are very man-made. It is not man-made. So several people think that doctors want to make money. They are generating disease from the lab. Please, only illiterates, those who have not understood biology will understand. For persons who understand biology, you have to understand there are several living creatures along with us. So if you fail to take treatment for 2 months, then the person will go for a problem called multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. The medicines will not work. He might die out of tuberculosis. If tuberculosis, if found late, can be fatal. So this is the thing you have to do. So what type of food a tuberculosis patient to take? As a parish level, they will come and ask, my son is having tuberculosis. He is suffering from so and so, he is taking treatment. What type of support a parish can give to the family? They can give in terms of food that is rich in proteins like egg, sundal, that is chickpea, legumes, tattu pairu, karamani, sundal, mookadala, patani, like those things you can give. They can be offered some meat, they can be offered some eggs, some good nutrition. You need not give them in money because alcohol is very, very prominent in our country. Whatever 500 you want to help them from your parish, the captain of the family kudu, panatha kudu, kudutara avaru, kudu, enta kudu, they will go and consume alcohol. You issue in terms of food, which will be very useful. Any doubt here in tuberculosis? Because this is a common disease that you will encounter in your experience and career. It is not an uncommon disease, at least for the next 30 to 40 years. After that, whether it is eradicated or not, it is not in our hands, but at least for the next 3 or 4 decades, it will be very, very prominent. So I want each and everybody of you to understand some basics of tuberculosis. You understood some basics of tuberculosis? Yes? No age limit. 1 year, 1 month old baby to 99-year-old, 100-year-old man. Anybody can get affected from tuberculosis.